Hi, and welcome to Section 3. In the previous section, we saw how to install Python and third-party packages of code that we can use with Python. In this section, we're going to look at how to create our own packages of Python code. Packages will form the basis for programs and help us to make our code modular. We will look at creating packages, adding modules to package, accessing code from other modules, and adding static data files to the package. Now we move on to the first video of this section that deals with creating a simple empty package. It won't do anything yet, but by the time we're done, we'll be able to import it into the Python shell. In this video, we're going to take a look at how packages are represented on the computer's file system. Very simple. Python projects may consist of a single code module, but normally there are multiple modules combined together into a package. A package can contain as many modules as we need it to. Packages start their lives as folders on the file system, which means we can make them just as we would make any other folder. If you prefer to use your operating system's file browser to make folders, that's fine, but I usually use the command line. There are two things that turn a regular folder into a package. The first of those two things is where it is. Python only looks in certain places for packages, and if your folder isn't in the right place, Python won't notice it. The sys.path variable contains a list of all the places Python will look for packages. The sys.path I'm showing here is fairly sparse, but user configuration can make it much more extensive. Notice that the first entry in the list is an empty string. That stands for the current working directory. For those of us using the command line, the current working directory is just the folder we're currently in. We could change the current working directory with the cd command. Cd dot means go back to the previous directory or the parent directory. So I went into and out of demo package. The fact that the current working directory is in the path is convenient during development. It means that we could just set the current working directory to the place where we're doing our development, and all of our packages become available, at least as long as we also use the command line to launch Python. The second thing that turns a regular folder into a package is the presence of an underscore init_.py file, underbar, double underbar. Though not strictly necessary since Python 3.3, an init file marks the folder as a package, which makes it load more efficiently, and also gives us a place to put information and code relevant to the interface of the package as a whole. While it's quite common that the init.py file is completely empty and serves only as a marker, there's one language feature that won't be supported unless we add a little code to the file. That feature is the ability to import all of the package's modules using the import star syntax. If we want Python to be able to do this, we have to tell it what we mean by all of the package's modules. To do that, we add the module names to a list called underbar all underbar in the init file. You might be wondering why we need to do this manually rather than Python just scanning the file system for module files. There are a couple of reasons. First, Python tries not to make any assumptions about whether file names are case sensitive or not. On some operating systems they are, and on others they're not. Module names are variables, so it's better if they originate within the source code rather than depending on something external that might change depending on where the code is run. The second reason for doing this manually is that importing a module makes code execute. Imagine we have a package that plays soundtracks. In addition to the general purpose code, we also have a bunch of modules that handle audio output on various systems. It's quite reasonable to allow our users to do an import star to bring their package's programming interface into their module, but we don't want all of the output modules to load, just the one that's appropriate to the system we're running on. Trying to load any of the others would most likely trigger an exception in the user's code. The way underbar underbar all underbar underbar works now, we can exclude the output modules from the import star and get the best of both worlds. Alright, let's make sure that Python is willing to import our demo package, and then we'll move on to how to add source code modules to a package. In this video, we've learned how to create a Python package as a directory on the file system and how to mark it with an init.py file so that importing is efficient and we can add package metadata. In the next video, we'll see about adding code modules inside the package.